Ford small block 289 MSD distributor installation. Quick disclaimer. I'm doing this because I have a no spark situation, and instead of troubleshooting the issue, I'm just replacing parts until something changes. At the end of this procedure / video, I come to find out that the distributor is not the problem. Either way, I have a shiny new MSD distributor to bless my engine. Before I bought the distributor, I bought the MSD coil in preparation to install this distributor. But here's some of my frustration firsthand trying to start the engine. I am getting nothing. Nothing. When the engine eventually did start, you can tell here it really doesn't want to run. It's wanting to die. In fact, it died quite a bit. This is the old distributor right here before I ended up putting the MSD on. Whatever the problem was, a remedy was needed quick because these spark plugs were fouling out so bad I had to replace them once a week. Let's move on forward so we can figure out what the heck this problem is.
Let's start by unraveling this mess, disconnecting everything. We got the coil that we need to disconnect to the distributor. We got the distributor to the spark plug with the spark plug wires. We got to disconnect them all. In fact, I just leave the spark plug wires on the spark plug itself, disconnected from the distributor, so we can gain access to the distributor cap, start removing it, and get into the internals. In order to install the distributor, you need to make sure the engine is on TDC or top dead center. How do you do this? Rotate the engine clockwise by putting the socket and the ratchet on the engine. Rotate the harmonic balancer till it says TDC. If you don't trust the harmonic balancer and you don't want to install the distributor 180 degrees wrong, take off cylinder number 1, the spark plug, take your finger, put it over the hole, and you'll be able to feel the compression as you're rotating the engine. You'll feel the air leaving the hole. That's how you know that it's in the compression stroke, and you'll be able to look at the harmonic balancer, put it on TDC, and then voila. If what I'm saying is Chinese and it doesn't make sense, search on Google or YouTube how to put your 289, 302, or 4th small block in top dead center. Modern technology is great because you can whip your phone out, take a picture of the old rotor, and when you put your new distributor in, you can put the rotor in the same place. Just match up the two pictures. Here I am. I took the cap off and took a picture of the position that the rotor's in. Took the rotor off, and now I'm going to start removing components. I'm disconnecting the coil, all the wires, and making sure that it's not connected electrically. I forgot to make sure the battery was disconnected. No better time to check to see if it's connected, and do so. Disconnect it now. Going down the list of things that need to be disconnected from the distributor, take off the vacuum advance hose that comes from the carburetor, get that out of the way. Next is the hold down bolt that holds the hold down, the very thing that holds the carburetor in place. And you have to loosen this up to either remove the distributor or loosen it up just a little bit so you can advance or retard your distributor so you can time it correctly. Before I removed the distributor, I put the rotor back on so as I was pulling it up, I could see how it rotated and which way it stopped. Go into the description and find the Amazon link for this MSD distributor. There's nothing more convenient than buying this from Amazon versus having to leave work and head over to the parts store. Buy this, and 2-3 days later, there it is sitting on your front doorstep. All right, now we are committed. Taking off the old distributor, opened up the new distributor, and now we have to prep it before we install it. Take off the cap, unscrew the cap from the MSD distributor. We need to do this so we can gain access to the rotor. So when we install the gears into the engine, we can make sure that that rotor is in the correct position, the same position that we took the old rotor off. Next thing to do, take the O-ring, the seal, and install it on the shaft so that no oil comes popping up out of that hole you're gonna insert the gears to. I'm trying to get the new rotor, the MSD rotor, into the same position that the old rotor was in. You'll see here I'm having a tough time pushing the distributor down flush onto the engine. At first I thought the housing was getting hung up, but then after looking at it and feeling around, I realized it was the gears that were getting hung up inside. When I put the distributor on, it didn't seat down all the way, so in order to remedy this, I rotated the engine 360 degrees. I didn't want to rotate it backwards, so I just kept going forward, rotated it all the way around 360 degrees back to TDC, and then the distributor sit flush onto the block. As a side note, on the back of the instructions, you'll see how to wire the tack if you have a tack you'd like to install. But the most important page, which is the last page, is how the connections to the coil is wired. It's actually really simple. The middle connection, red and orange, positive, negative. If you disconnected this in the first place, then you shouldn't have a problem connecting it. It's real simple. So for a clean look, I took the connector and zip tied it to the bracket for the housing of the coil, and connected the positive, negative, orange, and red. This is how it looks. Oh, don't forget to find a good place to put that ground. Then go ahead and rotate the coil, plug it into the top of the distributor. You're almost in business now.
What happened next was pretty disheartening. $400 brand new shiny distributor installed, and the engine still doesn't want to start. My troubleshooting skills on display for the internet to laugh at. So I decided to put my thinking cap on. Problem solve. I ran a 12-volt wire to the distributor via the coil, actually through the cab, so if I ever wanted to turn off the car, I can pull the wire, because if you do it that method, it's like hot wiring a car. You can't turn it off with a key. And voila, it ran. The good news is that we identified that the distributor isn't getting a constant 12-volt power supply. The bad news is I didn't get any footage of the vehicle running. Fast forward 6 months later and a world away. Completely corroded. Look at that water pump after traveling over 6,000 miles over the high seas. Before I tell you about what I did to fix the engine, let me finish off this review, show you the finished product. Let me start this engine, show you how well it sounds. No joke, this is actually first startup cold engine. Enjoy. American Auto Wire. Designed for 67, 68 Mustang. I'll be working on this project in the next upcoming videos. I'll be prepping the car in the meantime. This should resolve the issue. In fact, I know it'll resolve the issue because the problem is that the distributor, the coil, doesn't get a constant 12-volt power, doesn't get proper power, create an adequate spark to ensure engine's running. Maybe this remedy is overkill to solve such a specific issue. But who cares? It keeps me busy, it keeps the footage rolling in, it keeps the content coming. What more do you want? I can rewire the headlights, the turn signals, the reverse lights, all the interior. That's what I'm gonna do, man. Right now I have this switch right now for the fuel pump. I have the horn, it's attached to a switch. I'm gonna rewire everything. I'm gonna make this car as new as I can. Enjoy.